Good morning. Who do I have the pleasure of hanging out with? Two people. Wow. Nice. All right. Now back to one. That almost happens every time. There's one person who just comes on and off every time. Hey, Scott. How are you? Where do you live, Scott? Hi, Patricia. Yeah, there's a lot going on, as always. Baltimore, cool. Yeah, I haven't been down in Baltimore in a while, but I've been there. Baltimore, yeah. Hey, Patricia. Are you saying hello to Scott? Patricia's saying hello. Okay, we're all good. I'm back. I'm not 100%, but I'm maybe like 75, 80% back. Had a little bit of a flu for the last couple days, and it's worse than Denver. In what way? Oh, in what way? Denver. Ah, is Denver where the fires were? I thought it was in Boulder. At any rate, okay, let's get going. I don't want to waste any time because there's really a lot to cover. There's a lot going on. I picked up the idea that first of all, January was 1122, which is like lots of 11s. That's like 3 times 11. Denver is close enough for a reference point. Yeah. Yeah, with the Denver airport, a lot going on underground. I wonder why they always say watch the water. I wonder why they don't say watch the underground. Yeah, thanks, Tara. Hey. All right, so let's get going. So anyway, I just a couple of just sort of interesting notes that I just wanted to mention is that January is 1122, so that's like 3 times 11. You have an 11 and 22 is 2 times 11. So this promises to be a very interesting month, year, week. I'm thinking things are going to be very interesting. Like the Chinese expression, may you live in interesting times, right? But in a good way. I think it's a good way because I think things have to come a little more out in the open, and I think that's going to happen now. We're in Parshas Bo, which is come to Pharaoh, and it. I'm going to read the summary now, even though it's a little long, but it's really that God is telling Moses, "Come with me. Let's go. Let's go to Pharaoh in the seat of his evil. Let's go face him, directly." And this, in the Hasidic concept, is that we have to go to the root source of our evil and really like face it at its like most elemental level. I mean, but this is not, don't try this trick at home, guys. I mean, not so easy. But I think also in terms of a global thing, there is that the evil is pervasive and it's been hidden from us for thousands of years. Now it is revealed, and most people are pretty aware of what this evil looks like. So we have to really face it. Now that we can see it, we can go to it and say, Ganug, enough already. So I think that's what's going on kind of a global scale. I've been drawn lately, like in the last 24 hours, towards the Law of War manual, which is together with the breadcrumbs. You can you know, you can put together some interesting correlations, let's say. There's a guy on Telegram named Magic Eyes. His name is Carl. Amazing guy. Does a very thorough job of analyzing the law of war in terms of the breadcrumbs, in terms of posts from, we're going to call him the poet. I noticed that Cliff High calls that thought stream, the poet. So the poet, his things are best interpreted, or can be interpreted with the aid of the law of war manual, in particular sections like 11, sections 18. And I think, I did a search on DuckDuckGo, and I was able to find and come up with the actual manual, which I went through, and it's definitely worth checking out. Okay, so let's now go to the Parsha. Now this goes through the 6th. The 6th is when we're going to have that speech, and that is the 4th of Shabbat. Shvat is, in some ways of looking at things, I've said this in my other video today, but Shvat could be interpreted as the 11th month. So 11, you could say that the 6th of January is 11-4 because it's the 4th of Shvat. You have to look at a Jewish calendar. Is this important? Could be important. I tried to look at Law of War Manual 11.4. I'm not really sure what it means, except 11-3 is the end of the end of occupation. So I think we're coming to the end of occupation. I'm not saying we're coming to the end of the occupation, but I think we're coming to the time when it will be revealed that we are dealing with an occupying enemy that has taken over, that has infiltrated our country from within, the world from within. And I think this is going to come to the surface, and I'm expecting like a hint of it to come out on 11-4, which is the 6th of January. So I'm expecting something to come out, and whether I think, there are other days in this calendar month that are interesting in other ways, but it's very interesting that we're in Parshas Bo. Bo means, come with me to Pharaoh in his seat. I'm going to like go through the longer version from this is my, my favorite Chumash. I recommend this 5 volumes if you can get it. I tell in my show more how to get a hold of it. It's not on sale now, but if you're really into learning about, Jewishness or Torah, this is a very valuable resource because it's heavy on Kabbalah and Chassidus in ways that are pretty remarkable. Kind of like the Law of War Manual really is a remarkable thing for intelligence freaks, who want to find out what's going on in the world. That we have access to this, and we even know that it's being used right now, and even that we are at war right now is a lot of people don't really understand that. So I'm gonna put the calendar down, and I'm gonna read this. Hey Baseman, hey Raymond. Yeah, Happy New Year. Yeah, it should be good. It should be a good year. It's going to be an exciting year. I can tell you that. There's no question about it in my mind, especially, whatever. Anyway, so I'm just going to try to fly through this to some extent, but Parshas Bo contains the narrative of the final 3 plagues. Okay, this is such a pivotal parsha that this week is happening with the speech coming out, because really we're talking about this is it. During this parsha, the Jews actually leave Egypt, and this is what this whole thing is really all about for everyone. It's about leaving slavery. It's about leaving the slavery of the cabal. It's about leaving debt slavery. It's about leaving medical slavery. It's about leaving educational slavery. It's about, leaving economic slavery. It's just, that we're playing against a stacked deck. We're playing against bankers that hold all the cards, and we really don't have a chance. And we're so busy, we have to scramble so hard to make a living that we don't have time to really ponder the fact that we're under occupation. We've been under occupation for thousands of years. It's just that now we're becoming aware of it. And this is huge. This is going to lead to a tremendous victory in the Great Awakening, the era of Mashiach, the Messiah. At any rate, so Parshas Bo contains the narrative of the final three plagues, culminating in the dramatic release of the Jewish people from the oppressive exile and the first leg of their momentous journey into the desert. So not only does one people get extracted from another people, from the middle of the hardest country in the world to escape is Egypt, because it's bordered on one side by the Nile, and there's mountains on the other side. It's called the narrow place, the place of constriction, the place of limitations. And to escape this kind of slavery took huge miracles. In this parsha, we witness the mighty Egyptian empire brought to its knees by these plagues. And the same thing, I believe, is happening to the Kabbalah right now. The Kabbalah has already received the first 7 plagues, and now they're going to be finished off. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be finished off, but basically, I think things are going to happen soon. I think they have to happen soon. I think we've been waiting for a year to go by for some reason. I forgot where I read this, but for some reason, a year of occupation has to happen before we can really identify it and do something about it. But so Egypt is brought to its knees. Its idols crushed, the arrogant Pharaoh reduced to begging for his life. It also includes the origin and details of the observances meant to commemorate the Exodus, meaning Passover and the holiday and the consecration of the firstborn, because the last and final plague is the destruction of the firstborn. And this is the most horrific plague and the most beneficial to the Jewish people, even though, it requires the death of the firstborn of the house of Pharaoh and all the Egyptians, which is a great tragedy, but it caused a civil war amongst the Egyptians, which made it easier for the Jews who had been enslaved for hundreds of years at this point to escape. But also, we're talking about becoming a nation. They're going out into the wilderness not to party. They're going out in the wilderness so they can serve God, and they can really work out their issues. And also, they're going to receive the Torah in the first, after a short time, they're going to receive the Torah on their way to the Midbar. So they're not going out, they're going free so they can observe Torah and observe the 10 commandments and the laws of in the mitzvahs, and really to serve Hashem. And this is something that a lot of people miss. They think, "Oh, let my people go." It's not just let my people go. Let my people go so they can serve God. And that's our avoda. That's the word avoda, means service, though it doesn't translate well. Okay, so it seems strange that the parsha is named "Come," Bo, after God's instruction to Moses to come to Pharaoh. The fact that Moses must come to Pharaoh indicates that Pharaoh has the upper hand and that he is the dominant authority. Furthermore, why are 10 plagues spread over 2 parshas? It would seem more logical that the preceding parsha be devoted entirely to, to the theme of crushing the power of Egypt through the plagues, while this parsha with the preparations and details of the Exodus. So why? Hey, Richard. Yeah, it made no sense. Yeah, until now. Right. Yeah, exactly right. What's going on right now in the world, it's horrific. And it's, because I read somewhere that, 11-4 is significant because that's when the president's going to make a speech on the 11th month, which is Shvat, which is the month of Aquarius. Also, my birthday is in this month, but it's the age of a month of Aquarius. So it's the 11th month if you count the Jewish calendar in one way. There are 2 ways to count the calendar, but in one way it is 11 and 11-4, which refers to the law of war manual, I believe. 11-4 is on Thursday. So that's very interesting. It's also, I think it's also a holiday, a pagan holiday, but I don't want to get into that. Anyway, so why we spread out? So the Zohar notes that, and this is why this book is so beautiful. Like, if I look at the Zohar, it's very hard to decipher the Zohar. I'm certain, even when I read it in English, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. Right, Tara. Yeah, it makes no sense until now. Yeah, you have to see it. I mean, this is monumental. What's going on? This is the end. This is the beginning of the Geula, of freedom. Anyway, the Zohar states that God did not tell Moses to go to Pharaoh, but to come to Pharaoh. Okay, meaning come with me. In other words, God is taking him. God's holding his hand. Moshe's like, I ain't going there, man. He's bad enough. I got to go deal with him in his palace, man. Forget it. And God's like, no. We're going to come to Pharaoh. We have to crush evil in its source. That goes both internally for us, and I mean, don't try this trick at home. Don't be, don't go beating yourself up or anything. But anyway, that's right. So we have to break Pharaoh himself to destroy his power from its core. In order to do this, it is necessary to confront Pharaoh in his power seat, the setting from which he drew and commanded his ominous influence. This meant not only going to Pharaoh's throne room, where Moses had been before, but also meeting him spiritually in the depth of his evil. When God showed Moses the noxious spiritual font of Pharaoh's evil power, Moses was afraid, man. I don't blame him. God therefore reassured him that he would go with him. Okay, so Moses wouldn't be alone. Thus, the underlying thought behind the words "come to Pharaoh" is that it was a confrontation with Pharaoh's essence. It is here that he and all the evil he represents can be decisively broken. And so too, this very, very neatly parallels what's going on today. We're dealing with I mean, it's the same. Basically, it's the same force as Pharaoh. It's the same. It's the same people. It's these. I mean, I don't want to minimize it by saying reptiles, but this is a horrific.
Who's there? I'll be right there.
Okay, so breaking Pharaoh's power was the essential prerequisite for the Exodus. So in other words, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
So anyway, for the Exodus to occur, they had to really break Pharaoh down. Indeed, it was the essence of the Exodus. Egypt, with all its opulent wealth and imposing awesome edifices, was a very embodiment of materialism. Even its religion, its gods, and its distorted vision of the afterlife were materialistic. The Exodus was a release from this oppressive and constricting philosophy and lifestyle in order to live a life dedicated to God's transcendent reality. We're going out in the woods to worship God. I mean, what could be more pure, right? In order to be free, the chain had to be broken. Pharaoh had to be crushed at the very height and seat of his power. In this light, far from contradicting the tone of the rest of the Parsha, the term bow actually reveals its true message. So that's the true message, that we have to break this evil, and it is colossal. Yes, so many supposed good reasons to go do bad things, right? But we're dealing with a horrific enemy. Now, this enemy is reflected within us. It's like we also have, this kind of evil within us. So it's hey Karen. Hey, yeah. Let 20,000 herald in this dimensional notion. Yeah. And it is huge. And it is the numerology of 2022, especially especially January 1st, 1122 is like 3 times 11, 33, which is a very big Kabbalah number. And I think the the white hats, self-organizing collective. That's what Cliff High calls the self-organizing collective. Behind this, behind number 17 is is facing this colossal enemy. Anyway, since the Egyptian exile is the prototype of all exiles, so this is the same exile. We're really in the same exile today, although, they say now we're in the Roman exile, but it's all part of the same thing. It's all this like escape from materialism. It's all this escape from an evil that is, to most people, it's like they're so bad we cannot even like imagine the things that they do to us. Yeah, it's colossal. Okay, so it's the precursor of all exiles, and Exodus is the precursor of the final redemption. So it's the Rebbe. Everybody all agrees that this is the final redemption. This is the big one. The dynamic contained in the name of the parsha could be repeated at the end of the present exile itself as well. Before Pharaoh was crushed, God redeemed whatever good there was in Egypt. Non-Jews who wished to accompany the Jews were allowed to do so, and the Jews took with them an abundance of material wealth. Only when nothing of redeeming value remained in Egypt did God deal the crushing blow. So, too, the aim of our godly work during our present exile is to elevate whatever we can from the material world. When the process is complete, whatever is too spiritually coarse to be adopted into holiness will be eliminated, and the world will be free to pursue divinity unhindered by divine forces. So we're coming into the good guy. Yeah. Why are mocking the? Yes, yes. The white hats are using the numbers against them. They're taunting them with their numbers, which is they deserve it. Yeah. The anyway, in our own personal lives, and it's funny because this account doesn't take into account that we're going through, I think, the end of exile right now. Now, how long this is going to take, I won't say, but I feel like it's about to be more. You can see it. I mean, I was at a Shabbos table yesterday, and everyone's hip to it. I mean, if a year ago at this time, if I had said, we're in World War III at the table, people would have been like, Ellie, what? What? Now it's like everyone knows. We all know what's going on. In our personal lives, as we undergo our own individual redemptions, which collectively lead to the ultimate general redemption, we must also follow this dual process of elevation and elimination. This means that we must distinguish between these aspects of our lives that are in essence neutral, right, and can be elevated to holiness, and those that cannot. There's some things that you just can't do it. For example, someone who feels the pull of desire towards something the Torah forbids has to distinguish between the power of desire itself, which can be and must be reoriented towards holiness, and the forbidden object of desire, which he must eliminate from his life. So that's a big thing that we must, go kind of like go to the spiritual root of these things. Yeah, I agree, Richard. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know how this is going to play out. Yeah, we may need a Yeshua. I mean, Moses was not allowed to go into Israel because that would have been the final redemption, and we weren't ready for it then, according, I guess. Anyway, moreover, we must take our cue from here now, how God told Moses to crush Pharaoh, to aim for the jugular vein and attack evil at its root. Everyone has his or her personal Pharaoh, the aspect of life where opposition to holiness is most acute. This is where our primary assault should be directed. And when this Pharaoh is vanquished, the other obstacles in life will follow suit. Everything will get easier once we eliminate the big evils that we have to fight. Furthermore, we need not be afraid of this inner Pharaoh. Just as God accompanied Moses into Pharaoh's chamber and did battle with him himself, we can call upon God to accompany our inner Moses as it confronts our inner Pharaoh and help us destroy it. We are God's children, and just as a loving parent seeks to satisfy their children's desires, so does God satisfy the needs of every living thing. When we ask God to redeem us from the issues in our lives that constrict us, or distract us from our pursuit, our godly goals, he naturally hastens to assist us in doing so. So God's going to help you out, man. We're all good. We're covered. Finally, if God seeks to free us from our personal constrictions and distractions, he assuredly seeks to free us collectively from the constrictions and distractions of our collective exile. So the bigger exile, we all know what it's about now, the Kabbalah, is therefore our duty to entreat God to put an end to our existential exile and usher in the final messianic redemption. Okay, so yeah, so come to Pharaoh. So now God said, Moses goes to Pharaoh and he says, I'm going to send locusts. And interestingly enough, I don't think it's not till tomorrow's reading that he actually brings the locust. But interesting, I heard once, and this may have changed, but I heard once that there have never been locusts. Once Moses told the locusts to go away, there was never really locusts in Egypt. There have been in other places, but not so much in Egypt. Another thing I wanted to mention that came up on Shabbos, there was a king named Shaul, and God through Reb Shmuel, the prophet Shmuel Hanavi, told Shaul to kill all of Amalek, or kill the children, kill the cattle, kill them all, wipe them out, wipe out Amalek. And Shaul said to himself, you know what, man, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to keep some as captives. We can use them. And God, through Reb Shmuel Hanavi, was like furious. He was like, no, you don't try to better what I ask you to do. Just do what I tell you. Okay. This was a very interesting occurrence that happened. Yeah, white hats. Yeah, are mocking. Yeah. Right. But remember, the main thing about leaving Mitzrayim is that in like 50 days, I believe it's 50 days, they got the Torah. So it wasn't like they were just wandering around like a bunch of ex-slaves trying to figure out which end is up. They had a Torah then, and that's huge. Yeah. Hey, Manuel. Yeah, I don't know who Jan6 is, but yeah. So I, from this, I mean, from the fact that the year is starting out with Parshas Bo, come to Pharaoh, I feel this is going to be a very big year for the white hats and for all of us to start to really break this evil in its seat. Yeah, I know. That's I can't stop that, Karen. It's like I have certain forces in my own life that whatever. I could go upstairs. You know what? If is it really distracting? You want me to go upstairs? Or is the sound of the dishes bothering you guys? I could go to another place. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing time? Okay, so we're about halfway through. I think I think we're pretty close to the end of it. So, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Richard. Okay. So yeah. So we're good. We're good to go with that. So so he's coming, but the thing is to remember that on this. Let's go to the 6th because that's Thursday. I want to go, and I'm going to go back to this book because they tell you what day it is. So on Thursday, I think this is interesting when the speech is going to be given. And you're right. I think Richard's right. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mr. T. We just have to be, the Kabbalah has to be firmly and completely destroyed. Not like King Shaul did, where he said, okay, we'll leave, a couple of underground a couple underground bases, they can maybe we can use them for ourselves. I mean, this is my thinking. I was thinking like, well, they're destroying all these incredible tunnels. Yeah, thanks, Scott. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's a very nice, very generous way of looking at it. Um, yeah, no, Karen, you're always good by me. Don't worry. So anyway, okay, yeah. So on the fifth day. So on the fifth day, on Thursday, they actually shecht. They elevate lambs. They put the mark on the doorposts, and they kill the lambs and eat. And then on the next day, on Friday of this week, they actually leave Egypt. So I'm expecting like really amazing things till Shavuos. I'll tell you exactly. So I'm expecting some very big things this week. Shavuos is usually it's like around June. Right, Shavuos, right. So Shavuos is on June 5th and 6th. And that commemorates the receiving of the Torah. And before Shavuos, we count Spheros. So we count all the aspects of, we tikkun, we do a repair of all our emotional attributes, and we recognize that each emotional attribute is included in every other emotional attribute. Yeah, creativity. Interesting. Right. Creativity. Nice. Okay, so anyway, yeah. So in terms of the holidays, yeah, we're coming into Purim. That's the next big one, and then Pesach. So really, my wife will probably start cleaning the house for Pesach soon, and things will. And I've already made reservations to bake matzah, which is a very expensive but fun-filled day for me coming up in, I believe in February. I'll start baking. I'm going to bake 10 pounds of homemade matzah at the matzah bakery. But anyway, I don't want to get off course because this week is like really exciting. We are in the last of the three plagues, and the Jewish people are going off, leaving slavery at midnight on Friday, Parshas Bo. So that's really exciting. And I think I'm expecting things to echo forth in the world as well. I think, if you can go by the Alter Rebbe's maxim, live with the times. Yeah. Thanks, Tara. If you go with the Alter Rebbe's idea of live with the times, that, we can live with this Torah portion and realize that a lot's happening, that even if we can't see it, but I believe that this is the end of a year-long insurrection, the real insurrection, and we all know what we're talking about here. And maybe I think there's some stipulation where they have to wait a year before they go against, but I believe a lot's been going on behind the scenes. So that's the Torah portion for today. I want to go into Tanya now. I've been a little bit negligent with Tanya. Tanya was fairly short today. Okay, yeah. I was just looking at the Haftorah. The Haftorah is interesting as well. Always is. Okay, so in Tanya today, Sunday, we're in chapter 15. And it says, to serve or serve not. In one's divine service, hard work requiring exertion and personal sacrifice, or does it become more easily a sort of second nature? There are two types of Benonim. In today's lesson, the Benoni is called the Ovid Elohim, one who serves him because of his constant battle. Tanya, okay, you like Tanya? Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, okay, so now we have the dishwasher in the background, but that's probably a lot easier to take. Thank God we have a dishwasher. We have we have two sets of dishes, so we only have we only have a dishwasher on the fleshik on the meat side. We don't have a dishwasher for the milking dishes, so that's we have to do our own dishes, which is not bad. Anyway, okay, so let's get to Tanya. So they're talking about, in the previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe discussed the difference between a tzaddik and a benme. So a tzaddik is somebody who has no evil. He has no evil, but he hates evil with his heart. He doesn't want to go there. It's disgusting to him. Whereas a benoni, which is most of us, for me, for sure, I'm not on that level. I'm aspiring to be on that level, but a benoni doesn't really hate evil in his heart, but he doesn't let the evil come into his levushim, into his garments of thought, speech, and action. Okay, so with this distinction in mind, we can understand the verse, and you will return to see the difference between the righteous man and the wicked man, between one who serves God and one who serves him not. So, am I the right? Yeah, this is Parshas Bo. I read this morning, but I think I must have read the wrong one. But this is very interesting. This talks about the difference between somebody who serves him and serves him not. And they use the example of a donkey driver. That a donkey driver, if he has to go, like, so if somebody studies Torah, is used to studying Torah 100 times, and he studies 101 times, that's called somebody who serves God. In other words, you have to go beyond your comfort zone and do it more than it's comfortable to you, than you're used to. That's pretty high level. But this is a pretty cool chapter, so I can see. So it says the difference between him who serves him not and a righteous man is that he who serves him, written in the present tense, describes one who is still presently laboring in his divine service. So it's not that you have to become a tzaddik and you have to like start to hate evil. Most people will never get there, and it doesn't really require you to get there. It just says wherever you're holding is good to God, and if you're struggling to become a Beinoni, that's a very high level. So the service consists of the struggle between one's evil nature with the aim of overpowering it and banishing it from the small city. We talked before about how the evil inclination and the holy inclination, the godly soul and the animal soul, fight for dominion of the small city, which is called the body. Yeah, pilgrim making progress. That's it, man. This service consists of the struggle against one's evil nature and the aim of overpowering it and banishing it. Okay, right. So it should not vest itself in the organs of the body, meaning thought, speech, or action. So doing battle against the evil nature is the avoda of one who serves God. So if you're out there with your sword and you're saying, I'm not doing that, I'm not going to do it, and sometimes like a victory might be that you're able to postpone it a little bit. I mean, in Tanya, they're kind of, we want to eradicate this evil completely, but it's not always so possible. But sometimes it's just like making progress, like putting it off for a while. They often talk about how if you put off your meat, eating a meal for a few minutes, and you let's say you can't really overcome the temptation of eating that chocolate cake, but you manage to put it off for a few minutes, and then the next time you put it off for maybe a little more, and it's like this is the avoda, this is the struggle against the evil inclination. It's progress, not perfection, like Richard's saying. Yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty and the brilliance and the Rahmanas, the merciful nature of Tanya. So this constant battle with the evil nature truly entails much effort and toil. This is the Benoni. It is he who must wage his battle. It is the Benoni who is called him who serves God, for he's actively engaged at present in his service. He's always ready with, to keep his thought, speech, and action pure. Don't try this at home. It's not an easy thing, but before if you get a thought to eat that chocolate cake, before the thought even develops, you want to push it aside with both hands and not let it fester in your mind. The tzaddik, on the other hand, is designated a servant, an eved, a servant of God. It is not merely a description of one's active role, it's one who serves. The term servant is similar to the title sage or king, bestowed upon one who has already become a sage or king. So too he, the tzaddik, has already effected and completely abolished his service of waging war with the evil in him. He has banished it, and it is gone from him, leaving the seed of his evil nature in the heart void within him. Having completed his task, the tzaddik has earned the title of servant of God. So he's totally banished evil. And it says that King David, I believe it says King David, that the evil, that I basically killed it with fasting. And that's also something you shouldn't try at home. We're not, in our generation, we're not supposed to try to fast too much. I mean, you can fast on fast days, but it's not, we're not considered, we don't have the same strength that previous generations had. Yeah, everything is in Tanya, man. Tanya is just so beautiful. So the Benoni is the constant warrior. He is driving himself every moment to serve God. It may never come easy, but that does not deject him. He is serving God the way God wants him. So God wants him to serve with this constant struggle. It gives, they say that God likes salty, he likes salty treats and sweet treats. Savory, right? Savory treats and sweet treats. I mean, the service of the tzaddik is called sweet. I mean, he serves with complete and utter, attachment to God. But most of us can't really do that, so we are constantly struggling to do the right thing, and that's to keep doing, keeping these, thought, speech, and action directed towards godliness to some degree. So that's really it. I'm gonna skip ahead to the Yom Yom. Yeah, let's just touch on the Yom Yom. We are day laborers. Day is a code for night, and indeed, our divine task is a mission of light to illuminate the world with the light of Torah. In addition to every individual's obligation to see to it, with God's help, that his own spiritual state is what it ought to be, the entire divine service should be focused on making himself worthy of rising up students who will be solidly grounded with their hearts and minds dedicated to God's inner intent. That is not enough to study law, the nigla, like the revealed part of Torah. It's a little muffled. I'm sorry. Yeah, it could be. I think when I look down, it gets muffled. Let me try it up here. When I go like this, it gets muffled. Thanks, Karen. Let me try there. I'll try to keep. I'll look up. I can always put it up like this. So, yeah, we're day laborers, and there must also be divine service within the heart. It's not enough to study nigla, the revealed dimension of Torah, and to cherish holiness by observing mitzvahs. There must be divine service within the heart, and that's really the work of Tanya, is to bring this teaching into the heart, really feel it with your emotions. I noticed, by the way, when I had the flu, my emotions were completely shut down. I thought that was very interesting, and I thought to myself, could be my a little bit of the flu left over. I thought to myself, if I could only bring my emotions, if I could only open up my heart center, my heart chakra, maybe the flu would go away. So I worked on that a bit, and it didn't go away. What made my flu go away? It was Shabbos. My friends insisted on coming over. I told them I have a flu. My best friend, he also had a flu, so he says, "Look, I'm not worried. We both have the same thing." So we came over and we had a very long, I didn't go to synagogue this Shabbos, so, and he also didn't go. So we had a lot of time, and we just sat around. We talked for hours and hours, and we just had a really nice Shabbos. And and I realized I'm not worrying about my flu anymore. I'm not like running to the couch to lay down every 5 minutes. I'm really enjoying Shabbos, and I think that whole thing. How's it now, Karen? Is it any better? The muffledness could be my voice, the other thing is when I talk too loud, it gets bad. So I'll try to talk quieter. Yeah, about the sweat of your brow. Yeah. So so that's the yo-yo. I want to just touch on also. I know I'm reading a lot today, but um, I want to just touch on the daily Parsha insight. Okay, to be redeemed is to come home. We would expect God to tell Moses to go to Pharaoh rather than come to Pharaoh. By saying come to Pharaoh, God is teaching us that we should understand the Exodus from a broader perspective, including our own personal process of redemption from our inner states of bondage and exile. Redemption can only happen if we are coming rather than going. Still not as crisp. I don't know why. Wait, it's plugged in. Um, Yeah, everybody. I think this thing is spreading like wildfire. I think it's designed to do that. Um, so redemption can only happen if we're coming rather than going. Coming means so you have to go with your whole being, with your intent. Coming somewhere in contrast implies that we are moving our home. We are going we were we are going where we are heading with our whole being. Thus, when we free ourselves from bondage and materiality by communing with God in prayer or study, we should be sure to come home, immersing ourselves in the words and ideas completely rather than just going for a visit. Okay, we really have to come home to godliness. In this way, our study and prayer can affect us and change us. It can take us out of our personal Egypt, our personal Mitzrayim, our personal constriction, our personal slavery. Moreover, going out of our personal Egypt hastens the advent of our collective redemption of the Jewish people and all humanity as well. So I'm glad they said all humanity as well. It's better. Okay, good. I think looking up and also not trying to talk so loud. That's a teacher's thing. I'm used to like having to focus my voice. Okay, so what do you guys think? Any thoughts? Now you guys can maybe respond. Yeah, by the sweat of our brow until fruits, and then the harvest. Yeah. So I mean, I believe we're going. We're leaving Mitzrayim in the Parsha. We're actually leaving Mitzrayim this week, which is highly significant, and it's the same week that we're getting this getting treated to some kind of speech. Now, not to not to get off from the main focus of this year, which is really Tanya and Torah, but to just to kind of like just touch on the political things. Um, this struggle is that against this evil is huge, and this may just be a beginning. It may take years, it may take decades to cleanse this thing out, but I think we're going to get some kind of relief. And they said that Jasara is being activated first in Germany, and they shut down 3 out of the 6 nuclear reactors there, and that's part of Jasara, is to move into Tesla free energy. Every festival celebration, yeah. Oh, I didn't say. I just said Friday. Friday is the day that we actually. Oh, 12, right? 12 midnight in the Parsha. we actually leave Egypt. They get and they talk about, that's when they all had the matzahs slung over their shoulders. By the way, this thing with the matzah is, the matzah is supposed to, I'm sure you guys have heard this before. I'm sorry if I repeat, but for the sake of anyone who didn't hear it the first time, the whole Inyan, the whole idea of matzah is that we want to be humble. We don't want to be puffed up like bread. That's why that's the real Hasidic reason that we eat matzah. Humility. Like the best way to leave Egypt, the best way to leave our own restriction is through humility and surrender to godliness. Yeah. Yeah, get a good hat. Yeah, hold on to your hat. I really think so, man. I mean, I can imagine all kinds of fireworks are going to be hitting the planet soon in a good way. What they've been doing is heartbreaking, beyond heartbreaking. It's on so many levels, the bad guys. But we have to break them once and for all. We can't take any prisoners. They have to be completely removed from the planet. I heard that they're being given access to a portal in Antarctica, and they're sending them off to other worlds to bother other people. I don't know why they would want to do that. I mean, these people are just so evil. But let's get rid of them. I mean, I'm just glad to get rid of them. Whatever. Yeah, to eliminate leaven. Yeah, there's that aspect, but I mean, you're right, um, but the sin is really the haughtiness, and the cure is humility. It, the Hebrew word is batal, to be, to surrender to God's will. Send them far away, yeah, right, Roland. Send them far away. May they never come back. But can you imagine not even knowing about this? I mean, I personally, I only found about, I only maybe found about this a couple of months ago, really the essence of it. And, even that is probably just, not even close to what's really happening. But I really believe we're going to find out about a lot of things. And they say that the EBS thing is still going to happen. They're going to educate, but I'm marveling at how many people are hip to what's going on right now. Yeah, I mean, I had a neighbor who, surrendered to all this and was telling me how great it was, and now she's horrified. Proof, yeah. I think that's really what this week is going to be about. It's going to be about these things have to be made public. I think that's really the next step. I feel like we've completed a certain, I feel that the people who are going to know. And now it's just a matter of, of of revealing what's going on to the people so that everyone is clearly understanding what's been going on. We're coming into the month of Aquarius, Shvat. Actually, Shvat started on, where's Shvat? Shvat started on, oh, Shvat starts on Monday. What am I talking about? Shvat starts on Monday, this Monday. So that's the first of the month. And that's, that's a big light. Right. They left Egypt on, I mean, in the Torah portion. Now there's a calendar date is different. The calendar date is going to be closer to Passover. But the Rebbe said to live with the times, meaning the Torah portion. So in terms of the Torah portion, that would be Friday at midnight. They left Mitzrayim. But in actuality, the date on the calendar is a different date. So, there are many different, like, dimensions of reality, I believe. And the video, yeah. I don't know which video you mean, Erwin. Yeah, I agree with Richard. I highly recommend checking out Magic Eyes. It's Magic Eyes on Rumble. His Law of War manual work is unsurpassed. I mean, people really didn't know what they were reading when they were looking at the breadcrumbs until he really, I think, until he revealed that this was all a reference to like 11-3, 11-4. Yeah, it's more than like really bad. It's like unspeakable, unspeakable evil. Like it's evil. It's so evil that human beings have no way of relating to it at all. We just can't. We can't put our minds around this level of insanity. That's why so many people have fallen victim to this trap, and I'm just praying that there will be cures to it. Yeah, it's an insanely evil plan, but they're saying that. I mean, I'm hearing more and more they're going to have med beds this year. I mean, I'm sure the med beds could handle this kind of thing. I would think. I mean, I can't imagine they handle everything else. I don't know, Tara. I think you overestimate your arrogance. I don't think you have it in you. I think you may think you do, but I don't know. From what I see, man, you're on a much higher level than you realize. Yeah, the healthcare workers, a lot of people are really fed up, and this is the beginning of the end for them because they cannot handle. Their plan was, I mean, in Magic Eyes, they talk about co-plan 8888, which was how do you respond to ZOMBIES, like a military response to ZOMBIES. That's how dastardly this whole thing is. Yeah, Tara, you're so beautiful. I mean, you're hard on yourself. We're all like that. I mean, we've been trained. That's what the cabal does to us. They've trained us to think evil, like to self criticize ourselves. Off insanely. I mean, we're good people. We're nice people. We've been struggling. We've been living as slaves for thousands of years. Yeah, yeah. In England, the funeral directors. Yeah, I mean, I know it's. Yeah, we've been trained to think, I just can't do it. I'm no good. It's like it's the opposite. There are beings that are no good, and we know who they are now. Yeah, discipline, and the discipline is for our own benefit. It's not to punish us. It's to help us. And usually the Gavora, I I, I I've been saying that that you should look at my third video in the course because it really defines all the Kabbalistic terminology. But the idea of Chesed and Gevura, that Chesed is when things come easy. Kabbalah is in Italy. Yes, yes. There was something about Italy too, about this whole thing. Oh, I know what it was. The marker is supposed to be that a certain person was supposed to be arrested. Um, Podesta, and that the word Podesta in Italian means like, I think it means like leader or something, but it has some significance in terms of the Italian language. But the Vatican's in Italy, and Washington. Yeah, Washington's it's a separate territory. It's not the United States. Podesta, yeah. Yeah, I did too. I mean, we're trying to forget about these people, but a lot's going to be revealed soon, man. I mean, that's what I can just feel it. I feel like this new year is going to be amazing. I don't know if they're going to finish off the job in 1 year. I hope so, but this is a war. I look forward to that, Manuela. I hope you're right. I hope you're right about that. Yeah, I don't think we really have to worry about the real HC. The real HC has been. I mean, if you look at her, she doesn't look the same. She's a little bit shorter, um, but I think this is all just kind of like they're throwing out things to wake up the normies. I think this is white hats. Yeah, Joe Rogan is very good. Can't stop what's coming. Yeah, nothing can stop what's coming. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I have a lot of homework to do, in terms of like I really wanted to research the Law of War manual because they're interpreting that according to the calendar, the 6 is 11-4 on the Hebrew calendar, and that relates to the Law of War manual. Yes, a lot of Richard, you've really helped me a lot. Thank you. Um, and yeah, I mean, well, anyway, you guys are my hardcore guys, and I'm building this new channel back. If I can get another 500 subscribers, I'll get monetized. So that should, I mean, it's like one obstacle after another, but it's going to be good. I'm working on some projects. I have to get back to that Patreon thing and really try to develop something for that. Yes, I do watch Magic Guys for the Law of War. I mean, I also read the manual a bit. I'm trying to get more Bucky on it, more expert on it. Yeah, right. The normies, the sheep have to be woken up before they go to whatever. I mean, I look. My mother, my own mother. She's bless her. God bless her. She's 91. She believes in it. I can't stop her. Anyway, it's getting close to 12, and we'll be meeting later at 7:45. Thanks everyone for coming. We're going to get through this. It's going to be a very interesting month. A very interesting year. Yeah, people have to wake up. But this is, leaving Mitzrayim. This is leaving the narrow place. This is leaving slavery. Like, we at least recognize that we're slaves. Most people have no clue. They're in prison. They don't even know it. But they're finding out, and they're coming to realize it, I think. I don't know what draggy is. All right, guys. So I'm not gonna, I'm still a little bit under the weather, so I'm gonna start my Jewish goodbye. One more piece of brisket, maybe I'll stay for one more piece, a little more, right. Thanks, Richard. I don't know what platform. That's a very good question. Very good question. I don't know. I mean, Truth Social has to come in. I mean, I think in the worst case scenario, he'll just go to EBS. But I don't think it's going to come to that. I think they're going to take over a lot of these bad boy communication platforms. All right, guys. Anyway, much love and light, and we'll see you tonight, 7:45. May the force be with you guys. We're gonna get through it. And I'm sorry, Richard, that your people are starting to come down with it, man. What I can say is it's a lot shorter, and it's not as intense as the first go round. Karen, God bless, man. A totally blessing. Write some nice poems today, or write an article for my website. Okay, see you guys later. God bless.